As the truce between Israel and Hezbollah nears its end, new reports indicate that Israel may extend its military presence in southern Lebanon for beyond the deadline. Despite the ceasefire agreement reached in late November, Israeli occupation forces have continued to carry out airstrikes and military operations in Lebanon, violating the terms of the truce. At the same time, the delayed deployment of the Lebanese army in the south has raised also concerns. As the future of the conflict hangs in the balance and Israel continues to violate the ceasefire, the question arises: will Israel extend its occupation of Lebanon? And what will be the consequences for regional stability? Welcome to Think Tank.
كل المستهدفين هن مدنيين.
وضع شيء مرعب، شيء بخوف.
As Lebanon's ceasefire nears its end, Israeli Defense Minister Israeli Qnews says Israel will be forced to act if Hezbollah does not pull back from southern Lebanon. According to the Times of Israel, Israel recently signaled it could remain in Lebanon after the initial 60-day ceasefire to pressure the Lebanese armed forces to fulfill their obligations before the period ends. On the other hand, Hezbollah's new chief, Naim Qassem, threatened that its patience may run out with Israeli behavior even before the end of the 60-day withdrawal period stipulated in the November truce agreement. Meanwhile, the United States envoy to Lebanon, Amos Hochstein, has arrived in Beirut ahead of a meeting of the committee tasked with monitoring the implementation of the ceasefire, which went into effect on November the 27th. Hochstein's visit aims to address key issues, most notably the presidential election and ceasefire matters. This visit follows his meeting with the Saudi foreign minister in Riyadh on Sunday, where they both discussed the ongoing situation in Lebanon. Israeli media has revealed plans for the Israeli occupation forces to stay indefinitely in southern Lebanon, defying a ceasefire agreement stipulating withdrawal, despite fears of backlash from the Biden administration and potential United Nations complaints. Israel aims to maintain control of key areas near its northern border. Reports suggest that the military is determined to solidify its presence in southern Lebanon as the ceasefire deadline approaches. Israel's plans to extend its military presence in Lebanon is raising serious concerns as the IOF continues to violate ceasefire agreements and jeopardize regional stability.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened an urgent security meeting with top officials to discuss extending Israel's military presence in Lebanon. This decision comes despite ongoing ceasefire agreements between Israel and Hezbollah. The discussions centered on the possibility of the Israeli occupation forces remaining in southern Lebanon for an additional 30 days beyond the originally agreed 60-day period. The ceasefire, reached in late November 2024, required Israel to withdraw its forces from southern Lebanon. However, the occupation forces has continued its offensive operations in the region, escalating tensions. Lebanon has accused Israel of violating the ceasefire terms, reporting over 800 attacks since the agreement took effect. The situation has been further complicated by the slow deployment of the Lebanese military in the south. Naim Qassem, Secretary General of Hezbollah, warned that the group's patience is running out and that further provocations could prompt military retaliation. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has threatened to end the ceasefire unless Hezbollah withdraws to positions north of the Litani River. As Israel continues to assert control over Lebanon's southern border, the question remains whether it will cease its military actions and adhere to the terms of the ceasefire agreement.
And to explore this matter further, we're joined from Cairo by Dr. Abdullah Naima, a strategic political analyst. We're also joined from Beirut by Dr. Iman Shweikh, a political researcher. A very warm welcome to both our guests. Dr. Naima, Israeli occupation forces are reportedly considering extending their presence in Lebanon for beyond the deadline. What strategic goals might the IOF have in mind for maintaining this military presence, and how does this impact regional stability?
With respect to the withdrawal and the Hezbollah in the southern of Lebanon, certainly, as we all know, that the Hochstein, the U.S. envoy, has already arrived in Beirut to meet with the President Perry and the Lebanese leaders. As we all know that Hochstein is the envoy of the United States and the manager of the engineering of the agreement 1701. And I consider, upon this signing of the agreement between Hezbollah and Lebanon to implement the 1701 and the ceasefire, was just like a complete and a full basket or a package in the presidential months of Lebanon, and to end the war in Lebanon and the deployment of the Lebanese army. And Hezbollah has already agreed upon this package, and upon this we all know that upon Hochstein's visit in Beirut, upon the signature of the agreement, President Perry was the responsible of negotiation with Hochstein to implement 1701, has sent his consultant Al Hamdan to the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, and in the meantime had a delegation of Hezbollah in order to agree upon all the details of the agreement. And I think that Hezbollah has already agreed on this agreement, and he had to withdraw from the southern of Lebanon. And I think the positive thing of Hochstein's visit, that today, when Hochstein had a meeting with the Fifth Committee of Naqoura regarding this supervising the agreement, Israel has withdrawn of the western side from Naqoura, and the army of Lebanon has been deployed, and now is returning to the deployment. And I think the matters are going fine, and we all know that Hochstein had arrived to Lebanon coming from Saudi Arabia, following the consultation of Lebanon issue with the presidential and the election of the president and implemented the resolution.
Sir, I'll be back to you again. Dr. Shweikha. Shweikha has the clause concerning the deployment of the Lebanese army south of the Litani River been implemented since the ceasefire came into effect?
Good evening for you and for all the people watching us. Actually, the problem that prevents this agreement to be implemented in the right way is some logistics regarding the deployment of the Lebanese army. So I think it's the responsibility of the Lebanese government to solve this issue. But now I think there are some updates regarding the deployment of the Lebanese army and the withdrawal of Israeli forces, because like an hour ago the Israeli army withdrew from the western sector of the southern Lebanon. And this comes after the visit of the American envoy Amos Hochstein, who met the Lebanese commander of the army, Joseph Aoun, and after that we witnessed that the Israeli forces started to withdraw. And now there is some meetings, first with the president of the parliament, Nabi Berri, and after that with Najib Mikati. So I think it's different than the previous days where Israel were threatening that it will extend its occupation for some front edge villages. The reason for me actually is related to the new American administration and the negotiations that will occur between the U.S. and Iran, and especially that the Iranian control has diminished after what happened in Gaza or in Lebanon and in Syria as well, and the disconnection between Iran and its proxy, especially in Lebanon, after the change of the Syrian regime. So I think in the 60...
Dr. Shweikha, can I understand from what you're saying is that Israel is extending the ceasefire at this point to wait for the new administration of U.S.-elect President Donald Trump that takes, of course, the office on the 20th of January, which is in in 2 weeks, so less than 14 days. Do you think that this is the game that Israel is playing now?
Yeah, apparently Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to buy the time and wait for the new administration, especially that Trump is a great supporter of Netanyahu and his projects in the Middle East. But on the other hand, it's not the interest of Trump to extend the region of conflict over the Middle East, especially after what happened in October 7th with the Al-Aqsa flood that made such an earthquake in the region, and it will put more responsibilities and it will be a heavy burden on the U.S. regarding the military support for Israel. So I think it's going to be like a pressure from Donald Trump on Israel to end the war very soon in Lebanon and to start the withdrawal from the Lebanese villages, unless Hezbollah will achieve or will react to the breach of the agreement, because we've heard a lot from deputies and ministers of Hezbollah, and also from the General Secretary Sheikh Naim Qasim, who said that we've gave the opportunity for the Lebanese government and for the international community, but they couldn't prevent the breach for the agreement from from the Israeli side. So in the day 61, we will start acting. It means that they will convince the internal parties, political parties, that the only way to protect Lebanon and to achieve the withdrawal of the Israeli forces is the resistance. It's the only way of deterrence from what's going to be in the day 61. So I think
Dr. Shweikh, I'll be back to you again to see what's going to take place after the day 61, because it's a discussion we're going to discuss together. Dr. Naima, Israel has violated the ceasefire agreements with Hezbollah by continuing airstrikes and military actions in southern Lebanon. How significant are these violations in terms of escalating the conflict, and how does this impact the truce's future, sir?
We all know that the United States is the one that to pressure Israel to implement its withdrawal from the southern of Lebanon, as America is the first and the last supporter and the guarantee to Israel and to guarantee the implement of this agreement. The proof, as I said, that the U.S. envoy in Beirut held meeting with Mr. Perry to implement this agreement. In the meantime, we all know that a big officer, an American officer on the region, the Fifth Committee, to implement and supervise the agreement. As we all know, that Israel, as always, do not restrict with the issue of the international resolution, but the President Trump and the U.S. administration that practicing the pressure on Israel, and I think the agreement will be implemented. It may be possible at the beginning of electing the President of the Republic, as America has already assigned President Perry with regard to the 1701 resolution, as considering Mr. Perry and Hezbollah, the Shiite component. America, if they negotiate with them, do not negotiate with the Lebanese government and the elected president. And assigned Mr. Berry just to guarantee and the Shiite to implement the 1701 resolution through which to elect the president and the upcoming president will implement what agreed about with the Sunni Shia, with the U.S., America, with the United States regarding Lebanon.
Dr. Shweikh, Israeli defense minister, has threatened to stay in Lebanon and end the ceasefire if Hezbollah doesn't withdraw to the Litani River. How do you read that?
Actually, this is also related to the political situation in Lebanon, especially for the presidential election that will happen on Thursday. So if there's a domestic and also external anticipation that there would be a new phase in Lebanon, starting with the election of a new president, and this will solve a lot of matters, including the withdrawal of Hezbollah and a strategy and an agreement between all the political parties about Hezbollah strategic weapons, and to discuss everything related to the strategy of defense. So I think it's the last chance for the Lebanese parties, and this what explained the visit of the Saudi envoy.
Sorry, I just wanna make sure of something. You said this will be the last chance for the Lebanese parties in Lebanon Who are you referring to as Lebanese parties?
Excuse me?
Which Lebanese parties are you referring to?
All of them, if whether the Shia or the objection, because actually this matter or the election will draw the new face in Lebanon, the build of the state in Lebanon, and and to have Hezbollah as a part of the state, but not
Okay,
as a part of
I understand that what
like
you want to
Iran.
say is that the new president that is going to be the president of Lebanon is going to bring around all the problems or all the factions or all the everyone that's he's gonna bring everyone together to make it a better future for Lebanon and stop all the internal problems in the country.
Intervention, also the external intervention, especially from Iran or from US. So this is actually a very important, the presidential elections, and it'll answer the shape of the 61st day, whether it's gonna have the resolution of the war or the stability in Lebanon and in the region as well.
So all Lebanese people are waiting Thursday now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Dr. Naama, what does Israel aim to achieve by staying in Lebanon beyond the deadline? And in light, of course, of our guests' comment now that there will be a new presidency in Lebanon, how do you read the situation?
It is naturally that 9th of January there will be a session to elect a president in Lebanon, and the Speaker of the Parliament has called upon ambassadors throughout the world to attend this session, and I think through which will be a Lebanese president will be elected. Upon that, this time, any president for the Republic will be the first one since the Syrians were the guardians of Lebanon and prevented the establishment of the Lebanese state along with the Iranian axis. And I think today there will be the first elected president, will be a new birth for Lebanon, will be a real president for Lebanon, and Lebanon will be put on the right track internationally and domestically.
Dr. Naama, I see your narrative that you're optimistic.
Certainly, and I'm very good optimistic, and I consider that the elected President Trump, when laid his promise to ceasefire in Lebanon and eradicate the Iranian axis from Lebanon and Syria, I think that the region is directed to a new demographic position, and I think the U.S. will support it. And today, even before electing the president, Lebanon is back to the Arab League. We, as the Lebanese people, it is normal that we won't be happy what been done by Hezbollah, and as the Lebanese people are peaceful, educated, spread throughout the world, we're not the people to be confronted with Israel, but the Lebanese people was forced to do and paid the price as a result of all the wars of that axis. Since Hafiz al-Assad until today, that the Lebanese people pay the price, and I think that the Syrian regime worked for 30 days to destroy Lebanon and never worked a single day in establishing a Lebanese state. And today the United States of America, by the presence of Trump, promising Lebanon with elections and put end to all the wars. And we've seen what happened in Lebanon and Syria, and God willing, Gaza will be seeing the same thing. We are heading to peace in Lebanon, and most importantly, that Iran has already lifted its hand from Lebanon, and of course
Great,
this
sir,
will be
and,
proved in the upcoming days.
Great, sir, and very happy with your optimism. Dr. Iman, given the ongoing violations and potential extension of Israel's military presence, which you insist we're going to witness on the 61st day or on the day 61, what do you think Lebanon needs to do, both on the military and diplomatic front, to ensure that Israel does not consolidate its occupation in the south beyond the ceasefire period, the 60 days?
Actually, it's all about the will for Hezbollah and Israel, and also the committee monitoring the implementation of the agreement, whether it'll pressure Hezbollah and also Israel and the Lebanese government to apply the agreement and to implement it in the appropriate way, and in a way that will ensure the withdrawal of the Israeli forces and the deployment of the Lebanese army, and also to put the right path for Hezbollah to explain what will be his strategy in the near future. Does he will accept, because yesterday we've heard such a speech which was like a threat for the internal party from Wafiq Safa and from
Dr.
the general.
Iman Shweikh, I'm very sorry because I ran out of time. Political researcher from Beirut, and Dr. Abdullah Ni'ma, a strategic political analyst. Thank you very much, both guests, for your insights. That brings us to the end of Think Tank today. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates on Q News.